Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hazel and Mia Podcast. We're so happy to be here. It has been a pretty good week. I don't know how things have been for you, Hazel. How are you? How are things been for you?
I've been going through a bit of a rough patch. These emotions are sent to my head. My brain is in overdrive when I'm sleeping.
Oh,
I'm having
okay.
I'm having dreams and I don't normally have dreams.
Oh, that sounds interesting. We might want to explore that a little bit after we do our regular programming, if you'd like to.
Yes, that's fine.
Awesome. Okay, great. So, um, this week we got several questions from clients,
Yes.
and I thought it would be interesting maybe to read the question out loud and let Hazel give an answer to the client. And if I have something different that I want to add to it, then I'll jump in there for you with you, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so these were very serious questions, and I could feel from the clients how much it was affecting their lives.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that um, things that are going on in the world today are not normal things that people dealt with in the say 50 years ago or 60 years ago. And I have to say that literally we are changing as a society.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're finding it very hard to understand how we're supposed to behave because all of the things that we were taught when we were younger are so much different now. We feel like we don't fit in all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're very angry because the examples that were shown to us when we were children uh, don't work for us anymore. You
Yeah.
know, you think about it, very early on in the 1900s, you had a lot of farmers, you had a lot of middle class families who were building themselves up, and usually you had one parent who worked and the other parent who stayed home and raised the children. But in many cases, their values were aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they worked together as a team to build their family up.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay. And that has changed considerably to date.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have a unified team in the home, or the team looks different than it was
Yeah.
75 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that every home is like that, but it's changing, it's growing, but everybody doesn't necessarily have the tools to handle the changes that are coming for us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
about learning in our own individual way to deal with it the best way for us.
exactly. And it may not be the way that you grew up learning how to behave or think.
Yeah.
It may be something that you have to think outside of the box and you have to decide what works well for you.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay. So, in our first question, the client asks or says, I have been married for 6 years and we have one child together, a little boy. Recently, my husband sat me down and opened up to me that he is gay and has had a lover for the past 2 years. What do I do in a case like this? And how do I explain this to my son, who is 4 years old?
Do you know what? 20 years ago, I could have wrote that myself. I really could have. So I'm going to answer this from personal experience, because that's how old my children were.
Wow.
It's difficult for you. I understand that completely. You have to make the decision if you're walking away from your husband, or if you can co-parent still under the same roof, but with separate lives. The one thing that you need to explain to your child is love is love. So a black man could love a white man. A Chinese lady could love an Indian lady. Man and women love each other. And I know that's confusing, but if you start the conversation by, I love you because you're my son, you can then approach, well, me and Daddy had an argument. We loved each other for a long time, but now we've decided not to. Then you're not putting nasty thoughts about the situation. Because the one thing you need to think about is, in 20 years' time, your son could come out as gay. And you don't want him to think that being gay is wrong, even though it's probably tearing your life apart.
That's a good point.
Apart. You've just got to explain that love is love.
I agree with that 100%. The only thing I would add to it is that initially, when you sit down with your child, or initially while you are absorbing all of the information that's just been laid in your lap, I'd encourage you to avoid making permanent decisions, because you're in a state of emotional shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So give yourself some permission to process what has been said to you, and then even consider getting some therapy for both of you or for all of you. What your son needs to know at the age of 4 is that both of you love him.
Yeah.
And this does not have anything to do with him.
Yeah.
You could even say that, things are going to be a little bit different in the household. But mommy and daddy have to deal with grown-up problems. That doesn't mean that we don't love you or that our love for you is changing in any way. It's just that we really have to accept that the way we're living life right now doesn't make us both happy. Did you want to add anything, Hazel?
I did. Before you have that conversation with him, you need to have the conversation with your husband on what the living situation is going to be.
True.
Because if you can then go to your son and say, if your husband is moving out, say to your son, you're going to be really special because you've got 2 homes that will be yours.
Super.
So that you don't feel neglected at all.
Exactly. And like I said, family counseling may be a very important tool for you to use. And hopefully your husband will agree, because ultimately you're going to have to co-parent through this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't want to make either parent the villain.
Yeah.
Because like Hazel said, there's no guarantee that your child won't grow up and maybe prefer to have a relationship with the same sex. And the important thing to remember is that we're all supposed to know that love is love, no matter who it's coming from.
really, really important. And I need to point out to Mum, this wasn't your fault.
Correct.
This wasn't your fault. He would have had these tendencies from a very young age. And I can guarantee you now, he got married because that's what he thought was expected of him.
Exactly. And that goes back to my initial point of we learn things when we were younger
Yeah,
that may not fit now.
yeah,
And he shouldn't be criticized because he just could not continue to live that life that was a lie for him.
yeah. And it's hard for you as a mum. But one thing I want to stress is tackling it head on is the only way forward.
That's absolutely true. I mean, nobody should be judging anybody else's uh, relationship
Yeah,
situations because literally we all do things. I mean, think of the number of people who get married and are miserable in their marriage, but because their parents, grandparents, great grandparents stayed together
yeah,
for the family, they make the decision that they don't want to live this way.
yeah. And that's why there's so many polyamorous relationships now as well.
Exactly.
You know, if you felt you could do that, that could be something you could look at. There's many options before you make any harsh decisions. And that's why it's important that you and your husband talk.
That is absolutely true. And remember that you should not make decisions when you are in emotional shock.
And especially not when you've had a drink,
That too.
because that's when the worst decisions are made.
Or any other substance that could alter your um, ability to make
Yeah,
good decisions.
yeah.
I think that was very good responses. I really liked the question because I
It's,
mean, there are many people who are going through this.
yes, yeah. It's happening
And
more and more, and people don't know how to express the words they're trying to.
ex
But
exactly,
no question is a silly question.
exactly. And if people start opening up to themselves, I mean, this was a good time to ask this question because we had the 7-7 portal that
Yeah,
just opened up. And that is all about reflection and looking at the mirror, seeing what's really going on inside of you.
yeah.
So I think that was an excellent question that they brought to us. And thank you very much for that question. It was really great. And I hope you get some value out of our responses. Okay, so the second question is, my husband lost his job recently. And I'm going to read through this. Okay. So my husband, who is 45 years old, he lost his job recently. And I still have a job and I'm capable of supporting the family, but I work from home. And it is becoming an issue right now because he, of course, is going through the grievance of losing a job. But while I'm working in my office, I work from home, and he is constantly in my office asking for my opinion about new opportunities he's exploring and talking it out about his feelings and interrupting my workday. I've tried to ask him to respect my workday, but this is becoming a big problem as he feels that I am not supportive. What boundaries can I put into place?
I'm going to work with my spirit guide for this one because of the way the question was asked, because the cards wouldn't necessarily take all the energies in.
Okay.
straight away, you need to put a sign on your door to say working hours. When that sign is out, he needs to respect that he can't come in, because you're dealing with private calls, with delicate information. He needs to realise that he needs to treat your office as if you're working out of the house in a private office.
Very good. I go ahead.
The other option is here, my guide Kathy is saying, you can say to him, right, okay, if you can't give me my privacy and my working hours, I'm going to have no option but to hire out an office in a building, which is going to cost us money, which is going to take me out of the house longer, because I need to have that privacy to work. If you can't give me that privacy, that's going to be the only option, because I can't deal with clients on a personal level while you're back and forth.
Wow, I didn't think about that option, but I think that's also a good suggestion. I mean, granted, okay, you lose a job, it impacts your self-esteem, your identity, and in most cases, the emotional well-being. Your husband is likely looking to you for reassurance and connection. But when you're working from home, that is a problem, to have him constantly interrupt you to give him support.
Yeah.
So you might want to try something like, okay, I want to hear everything you're thinking about, because I know that this is really difficult. But during my work hours,
Yeah.
I need to focus just like I would if I was working at an office downtown.
Yeah.
So let's have coffee together, and you set the time, and we can also have lunch at noon. And then at the end of the day, we'll spend 30 minutes together talking through everything. But also remind him of the togetherness time you had when he was working outside of the house.
The other way you could put it into perspective is, if you keep coming in and out of my office while I'm working, I'm liable to lose my job.
And then both of us will be sitting
Yeah.
in the house staring at each other. You know, the one thing that you have to remember is that when they lose their job, the whole world is different from them for them. They don't remember that when they were going out to work, they didn't contact you during the day.
No, no.
They most likely went to lunch with colleagues or had coffee breaks with colleagues. And at the end of the day, the two of you had your conversations together to get a fresh perspective on how each other's day went. And if you don't feel that you want to have the coffee break and the interruption of lunch because it's new for you too, then suggest that, hey, why don't we have that end of the day conversation that we were used to having before? So this way you can maintain your routine of going to work, focusing on your job, and then us having our evening conversations together.
Because the important thing as well to remember, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy, he's got free time on his hands and he don't know what to use it for. Encourage him to do some voluntary work while he's buzzing around looking for jobs.
Absolutely. Or also encourage him to take some online courses that will help him keep his skills fresh and will be better on his resume when he starts filling out applications.
Yeah.
The last thing he wants to do is to lose the leverage that he had before.
Yeah. You could even, this is completely thinking outside the box, push him in the direction of learning something new.
Oh, yeah.
At 45, we are seeing it more and more that's when career paths are changing.
And, he's on the cusp of that age where he can still find a job, he can still build a new career.
Yeah.
Because at 55, let's say, that's when they are starting to push people out into early retirement.
Yeah.
And it's a 10-year window there.
Yeah.
Where you may have become so comfortable in your job that you don't want to do something new. You don't want to look into new fields. So this is a time where he still can be effective and still grow himself professionally.
Yeah.
And be viable possibly past 55, because once you start learning new things, you tend to want to continue doing those things.
Yeah. And it's just giving him options so that he can see why you're putting the boundaries in place. You're putting the boundaries in place because you know the urgency of keeping your job.
Exactly.
He needs to understand that as well.
And I have known people who were in their 70s who were taking small jobs just to get out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if that's an option for him, encourage him to start writing Instagram posts about services that he can provide.
Yeah.
So if he is focused on something else, he won't necessarily have the time to interrupt you during your workday.
That's what it's about. It's about getting the balance back.
Exactly.
And that's the most important thing here, is the balance.
And encouraging him to move the momentum forward. Not focusing on, hey, I just got fired. I just lost my job of 10, 20 years, and now I'm feeling useless. Because those are the feelings that do tend to come with losing your job. You lose your identity.
Important thing to say to him is, as one door closes, another door opens. I am a great believer in that.
And if you can't open a door right now, encouraging him to crack that window open.
Yeah, definitely.
That's thinking outside of the box. What can I do to get out of the house, to feel useful again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, third question. This is our last question that I have. So, recently I received a call from a woman who says that she is my husband's mistress and that he was supposed to marry her instead of me. I have not yet confronted my husband with this information because I am devastated that he may have been having an affair since our marriage 3 years ago. Do I investigate this on my own or ask him about this woman and give him the benefit of the doubt? Before we were married, I was aware that he was dating other women besides me, but he swore to me that this had ended when we became serious.
Right, let's have a look. One thing you've got to be careful of here straight away is jealousy. Right, that flew out. That's flown out for a reason. Jealousy is a hell of a thing, and women are the worst. It could be that she still has a crush on him from the past. There could be a million reasons here, but let's have a look. For God's sake, don't confront him.
Okay.
Don't confront him. this woman's not telling the truth.
Okay.
She's trying to cause issues for the two of you to split up. That's what she wants. Why I say that is you've got the King of Cups.
Okay.
You need to ask her for any proof that she has, any photos that she has, which are time-stamped.
Okay.
You need
Good idea.
everything time-stamped because of AI.
Good idea.
If he has any prominent marks on his body, like a birthmark or a skin tag or a tattoo that's not on show, you need to ask her for those details as well. It's important that you do that to put your own mind at rest.
Good. I have to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go on.
Well, I have to say that she's been married for 3 years, and her vows was to work through things together. She took a vow as well as the husband did. And I would not say confront him, but I would let him know that, hey, I took my vows serious. And this woman has called, and before that, I would have to ask myself, have I had any inklings that things were not going well in the marriage? Did I feel like there were many evenings where he was not accounting for his time, or he wasn't with me, or I was, because women have an internal intuition that makes them say something isn't right.
Yeah. But you can't say anything to him until you've spoken to the other person, because you need to have some sort of, if she got nothing to give you, then you can go back to him and say, look, I've been dealing with this, I just wanted to let you know. Whereas if she comes back with evidence, which I don't see her doing, then you can say, look, what's going on? Because if you say anything to him now, he's going to say, well, you don't trust me. And if anything have gone on, he can then contact her and say, get rid of everything. What have you been doing? So you need to deal with things before you speak to him.
Well, I agree with you on the jealousy part. I think that is a possibility, but I also think that your covenant is with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not with her. And I think that if she sits on this would be something that would eat her up inside until she has some answers.
But that's the thing. She needs to speak to the other person first, because if the other person hasn't got evidence, then she can go to her husband and say, look, I've had this message, what's going on? Why now? Whereas if the lady comes back with evidence, then she can say, well, look, I've had these messages and this is the situation, what's gone on. Because what you don't want to do is, if this have been going on, you don't want to give him the heads up before you've spoken to the woman. It's like a police case. So the woman is the witness. The woman who says she's been cheating is the witness. So it's about gathering evidence to then say to her husband, this is what's been going on. And you don't want to give the perpetrator any reason to get rid of evidence before they've spoken to the witness.
Well, I think that is a good approach. I think that the one thing that she's going to have to remember is that while she is getting the evidence together, she's going to have to hold in her emotions very tight to her chest.
Yeah.
And she needs to be paying attention to anything that is out of the ordinary that could indicate that there is something else going on.
If this lady have approached her and then disappeared after saying these things, there's your answer in one option.
Exactly.
It didn't happen. The other thing is, if she says she needs time to get the evidence together, screenshots you can get instantly off your phone. Photos instantly off your phone with timestamps. So you could say to her, well, look, I need these by the end of the day to do what I need to do. So you don't have to give her days on, because everything should be on her phone that she can screenshot and send to you.
And the other thing I would caution you is that don't go to your friends and talk about these things with your friends until you have more information about what's going on. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the end of your relationship, because it really, truly does mean that you need to focus on how committed you are to this relationship. And if you need to get into couples therapy, that is still an option for the two of you. So, go ahead.
You've got to ask yourself, if this hadn't been happening, why you feel so deflated, which you will be. If it have been happening, you need to ask yourself why, and you need to ask the other person why. That's the only way you'll get to the bottom of it. And this is something I say constantly. Your marriage, if it have happened, have hit rock bottom. The only way you can go now is up. And that's the important thing to look at. If it's happened, you've hit rock bottom and you're going up. I don't see this happened. I see the person who've contacted you have told you this out of pure jealousy because you got a crush on him.
And happened many times over.
Yeah.
So, go cautiously, move cautiously, and pay attention to your intuition.
Yeah. Don't get your intuition confused with fear as well.
Exactly.
Because that's easily done.
Well, I say we had some great questions this week, and I hope that our answers were very helpful to you. Please remember to stay focused. Remember that everything changes from day to day.
Yes.
And take control of your emotions. The portal is actually still open. And take some time in each day to just reflect on your life, what you bring to this world, what you bring to each relationship that you have in your family, and how you can move forward into the new world that we all are embarking on.
And don't panic if you're having crazy, crazy dreams.
I want to so much hear about your dream. I think everybody wants to hear about your dream.
Yeah. My dream is, my life is completely different. My life is completely different. I'm living in America. I'm a top CEO of a company. This dream would never, ever be reality because I'd never leave. But it could be where my brain is just not shutting off and I'm doing a lot of readings for clients in America. It could be where my energies are going. There's lots of reasons why it happens. I never dream, never ever dream. I'm dreaming a lot about my deceased loved ones.
Wow.
They're so real. When I open my eyes, I expect to see them.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, do you think this could be a remembrance of other lives that you may have had?
I don't feel so much that. I feel it's unfinished business,
Unfinished business.
if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Well, I literally, when I've had dreams of loved ones that have passed on, uh, it's always been because something uh, drastic was happening in the family, or they needed to remind me of something that is important in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I, they've always been like a guidance for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what one of them is. The one dream I keep seeing reoccurring is my mum on life support. And that was the one thing I didn't want to see. Now that is the last image I've got of my mum etched in my brain. And I've been saying for so long, I need to remove that vision. I need to remove that vision. So that could be part of the process. We won't know, guys, until the end. Because don't forget, when the portal is open, when the energies are crazy like this, we don't see outcomes for ourselves until the end.
That's true. And so many of us don't uh, actually recognize that our dreams are carrying messages for us.
Yeah.
We just we refer to them as dreams or nightmares, and then we go on. Um, if we recognize that these dreams are coming to us as messages, as guidance for us, we need to stop and think, okay, what am I supposed to be focused on?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And always remember that at night before you go to bed, if you have a problem, bring that problem to your guides and ask for clarification or resolution.
Yeah. Like tonight, because I need good sleep, I'm going to have to say to Kathy, please keep them away from me tonight because I need a good night's sleep. And then tomorrow I'll say to her, Kathy, if the story needs to continue, you can continue it.
I think that's a good suggestion. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Well, I think that this has been a very informative podcast today, and I really enjoyed it very much. Um, I ask everybody to please give us a like, a thumbs up, and leave us a comment, and subscribe to our podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And if any of these questions or the dreams that are coming to you have any, if you remember any of these things in the morning, please drop us a line and let us know what dreams you're having.
Can I ask one important thing?
Go
If
right
you have
ahead.
relationship questions, please put some identifying details of the other person you're asking about. It could be their date of birth or their initials, just so that we can bring the energies through stronger.
Excellent. Thank you all for joining us. And we want to say have a great weekend. And please come back next week and get your questions ready because we really want to work with you and
Yes,
answer and help as many people as we possibly can.
yes.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.